First of all, let me get to this: the medical marijuana in the Senate. Now, where does that stand? Where are we with that?
Paul, I was told yesterday. The House was busy yesterday on some other things, but
I know
I was told that the Senate passed their medical marijuana bill out of their committee, and have no reason to believe they will not bring it up on the floor of the Senate today.
That's what I hear. You think it'll be happening today, and then come over to you guys. Have you seen the bill? Have you looked at it and say, well, we got problems with this one? It's going to be just pass it back as it is, or you think it's going to take some work?
No, I have not seen their bill. My understanding, I've been told that it has changed since the previous versions that we had discussed a while back, but I have not seen what they passed out of committee yet.
So if they pass it today, then it immediately goes to the House, and you guys will probably take it up next week?
Depending on which committee it gets assigned to, and which chairman that is. Yeah, then that chairman will make a decision from there as to how they want to address it. So I'm sure they'll spend a lot of time studying it, seeing what's in it, and see if they agree with the changes that were made by the Senate. Is that one of the ones that could be double referred? Anything could always be double referred, but I imagine it'll come out of one of the healthcare committees.
Just about 60 seconds, maybe a little bit more, from some of the actions yesterday. It's always good to get the guys on the air here, but to hear what went on yesterday as far as on the floor of the House.
We found ourselves after this last census in a category that none of us really were envious of being in. We didn't ask for it. We have young people leaving our state and not coming back, despite all the good things that we've done over the last 10 plus years since I've been here. I would tell you, though, that I believe it's time for historic, transformative, game-changing legislation in this state. And what a better time than right now, when we have historic tax revenue in this state to return a significant portion of the money back to the hardworking people of this state. This bill is absolutely transformative. We would do something that very few states have ever done, and we would become the 10th state in the union to have no income tax. That is an amazing legacy. We can provide the largest tax cut in our state's history, and we can still provide for the needs of government at record levels. The end result would be a tax code that rewards work and is fair for everyone. Lastly, I would just say this. 15 years from now, I would not want to be the elected official who is solely responsible for us having an income tax in this state. I wouldn't want that to be my legacy. Let's let our legacy be that we push forward with transformative change to end the tax on work in this state. Mr. Speaker, I'll close with that.
That was Trey Lamar. This is Trey Lamar, and your afterthoughts on that vote.
It's a historic day in the Mississippi House of Representatives yesterday. I was very pleased with the vote. We ended up with I was told last night there was another vote that was going to change their vote today and go with us that was off the floor, I think, and was not voted. So at least 98 votes, a tremendous bipartisan vote, which I was very proud of. I know the Speaker was very proud of it as well. It just reflects the measure of this bill. It does a lot of good. Would do a lot of good for a lot of people.
That would start July 1st, the fiscal year?
Parts of it, because we have different taxes that go with different fiscal years and different tax years. It's a little bit complicated, but it has the sales tax parts have to start in July. The income tax parts have to start in January, and the car tax starts in January as well.
Tell me about the car tags.
The bill provides for a 35% reduction in all car tags across the state.
Some of the heavily hit, I know Stacy was talking about her county, or Pearl River County. There's some pretty high ones there. Hinds County and Coleman County and places like that. That's going to make a lot of people happy.
I bought my wife a new car back before Christmas, and I tell you, the writing that check was not fun. So in my county, I'm no stranger to it, but car tags are high all over the state, so that is something that I think a lot of people will certainly benefit from.
So what is supplanted in here, and how does this bill differ from the one that the Senate didn't like the last time? If you buy that car, the car itself is going to cost you more.
No, not at all. No. The sales tax on cars does not go up in this bill.
It stays at 7%?
No, the sales tax on cars is at 5%.
No, it's 5%. I'm sorry.
And it stays there. Yep.
And it stays there. So you guys changed that.
We did, yes.
What other changes from that initial bill are in there?
Well, the very initial bill, when you start doing something this big, Paul, you have to start somewhere. And there's going to necessarily be changes and amendments and things you learn along the way. But the initial bill went up on everybody that pays the sales tax right now. And so that included farming equipment, logging equipment, other types of equipment, manufacturing equipment, automobiles. We removed all of that from the bill. And so the only thing that would go up would be the general sales tax at 7% would go to 8.5%. And at the same time, the grocery tax, which is paid at 7%, would go down to 5.5%.
When you look at this, how much money have we got to supplant? What was the total amount of money we garnered last fiscal year, as far as sales tax in Mississippi?
Well, I couldn't give you the exact sales tax number. I can give you the total numbers.
Yeah, roundabout.
Yeah, but we were up. The first section of the bill, I invite anybody to go to it and read it. Gives about a 4-year history of our financial shape of our state, and we have been up over $1 billion last year. We're on track to be up about $1.1 billion this year, and that is projected out through FY24.
So realistically, would it comport to the point of saying that we have to supplant 40%? It doesn't go. It's not mano a mano. If you're saying we're going to phase it in 40%, does that mean we have to replace 40% of the existing amount of revenue we get from income tax now?
No, it does not, because where we fund, we are taking in tremendous more amounts of money than we are actually spending on government.
The sales tax on groceries down 3.5%.
It would go to 4%.
It would go to 4 even.
Yep.
Does that kick in July?
Yes, it goes down 1.5, commensurate with the 1.5 increase, and then it buys down eventually to 4% over the next few years.
It differs from what is in the Senate in some ways. We'll talk about that when we come back, and also medical marijuana with the chairman of Ways and Means. It's Trey Lamar. All that is next. I do not believe that the chairman of House Ways and Means Committee was understating it at all when he said this could be a very transformative and historic session. Man, when you start looking at it, Trey, you got medical marijuana, you got the personal income tax, you have all the money that we have in here, the teachers' pay raises. If we spend the money wisely and all of the dollars, it's going to be one for the history books. It certainly is.
It's shaping up to have that potential. And I just want to add, I don't think we talked about this in the last segment, but the income tax bill right out of the gate in the first year of implementation, single individuals, the first $40,000 that they earn they would owe no income tax on that, and that would be $80,000 for a married couple. And that would the numbers show that means that about 50% of all the working people in our state would no longer owe an income tax.
Because of the household income, you're absolutely right. Do we know what that savings is going to be? Let's say if you made $40,000,
it's about $1,300 to $1,400
for that salary level.
Yes, about
much.
About $2,700 for a married couple.
And Philip has tried when he was on, and other people have tried to do this, just to compare and show people you're not going to be spending. For the most part, groceries you're going to be saving. You've got to add to that $1,400 savings.
No, there's no doubt about that. And then also, when you combine the car tags with that,
and the car tags,
we did a simple analysis yesterday with some folks, and even if you are a retired person that's currently not paying income tax, if you're a retired person living on a fixed income, you still save money under this plan.
All right, let's talk about and one other thing I wanted to cover with you. The Republican-controlled Senate yesterday passed the bill to redraw the state's 4 congressional districts. Now, that goes directly to the governor. Is that done now?
It should. My understanding is they passed it identical to the House bill, so that should go to the governor.
That goes to the governor. Now, you give it, and I think it's at least by April the 3rd, you guys got to draw the Senate and House seats. House does theirs, the Senate does theirs.
That's correct.
And you guys won't take that up until sometimes later. Yep. Is the deadline April 3rd, or you have to submit it by April 3rd?
We just need to do it this session. I don't know that there's a specific deadline because we don't run until it'll be next year, 2023. So we've got time there. But I know the chairman has spent his time initially working on the congressional redistricting and focusing on that because there is a deadline with that, and then now he's starting to work on the legislative districts.
I don't want to let you go because we don't have a lot of time, and I want you to let you go and you have something that you really want to chew on here because there's so many different things. So if you've got something that you want to just use the microphone, please do it.
Well, thanks, Paul. I'll just say that yesterday was in the Mississippi House of Representatives. I've been here. This is my 11th session. It's hard to believe, but what we did yesterday by eliminating the income tax in the state, passing legislation, historic legislation by an overwhelming bipartisan support that would eliminate the income tax at a point in time in the future in our state, as well as giving what I believe to be historic teacher pay raises with emphasis on education. And we passed those bills with a very detailed fiscal note that shows not only can we afford it, that we should do it. There's no good arguments why we shouldn't do it and return this money back to the people of Mississippi and reward them for their work.
I'm watching a national TV show last night. It was either Fox or CNN. I mean, no, not a CNN. It was either Fox or Newsmax. I was watching that. And it was some clips in there were talking about people flooding out of California. New York's got a lot of businesses that they don't know where to go. New Jersey. There are a lot of businesses that want to move down south. Then they keep talking about how hot the states of Tennessee and Texas and Florida. I mean, it's gangbangers. They are fleeing in that area. And they also mention, to some point also Louisiana. And, of course, Mississippi is never mentioned in that. And it is a shame because every state has pockets of poverty. But we've got a lot of good things going on. You go to DeSoto County, the Gulf Coast, the Jackson metro area is on fire. And when you start talking about that, you've got to figure in the cost of living. Great schools in many of these places, most of these places, they're great schools. Great medical facilities. The infrastructure is pretty darn good. Some of these places from Ocean Springs to Oxford to Madison, and I'm leaving out some folks, are rated in the top 10 of a place of where to raise a family in America. But we don't get that publicity.
Well, I'll tell you this, Paul. People are watching. I think the eyes of the nation are on us, specifically the states around us. I hear every day people who live in Memphis would love to live in North Mississippi, but these are people of means and people with that pay a lot of income tax, and they can't afford it. It would cost them too much money. And I want to say this since I have the mic. I want to say I saw the governor, Tate Reeves, sent a message out yesterday regarding the House's passage of the bill in support of the bill. And so I just want the listeners to know that Republican leadership in this state is showing just that, leadership. What you saw yesterday was the Mississippi House of Representatives, Speaker Gunn, passed historic legislation, and you saw Governor Reeves come in support of it as well. And so I want people to take note of that.
You're alluding that the stumbling block is going to be the Lieutenant Governor, Delbert Hosemann. Have you seen any proposal from them?
I'm not alluding to that because I'm hopeful because I've talked with Chairman Harkins many times. He's a dear friend of mine. The chair's finance in the Senate, and I've seen what Delbert Hosemann, Lieutenant Governor Hosemann, has stated in that he wants meaningful tax reform in the state. But I will say this, and I want the listening people out there to understand that we eliminated the income tax in Mississippi yesterday. The House did, and that's what people are expecting. A measly cut of the 4% bracket is not going to put real money back into the people of Mississippi. The people want the income tax eliminated. They want the transformative change that we discussed yesterday, and I really look forward to continuing to work with Governor Reeves and Lieutenant Governor Hosemann toward making that happen this session.
Do you have any worries that this is affordable in the future?
None at all, and that's why we spent a lot of time on the fiscal note and studying it and asking LBO to spend. That's the Legislative Budget Office who prepares those to do a very detailed fiscal note, and it's out there for anybody to see. So it's a very good plan, and I'm excited about it.
After the Trey, after the teacher pay raise that went in yesterday, and the Senate and the House are both in favor of that in one manner or the other. A lot of comments on C Spire text line this morning at 601-879-4395 of where is ours as far as the teachers in community colleges.
Well, Paul, my understanding is that there are going to be efforts to give raises across the board for state employees this year. So the teachers were just first up, and I look forward to working toward those efforts for the rest of the state employees as well.
One more time on the medical marijuana bill. You haven't read the bill that they're possibly going to vote on today? I
have not read it, but it will. They made some changes. I was told that, and if they pass it today, it'll come to the House. I look forward to seeing what they have proposed. And I will also say, I think you had mentioned previously when I was on there, there were a lot of people interested in the ABC warehouse reform. So we certainly plan on looking at that this year as well. Well,
what do you want to see happen with that?
Well, I think everybody agrees. The one thing everybody agrees on is that the status quo is not best, and we need to do something. So there's essentially two options. The House passed a bill last year that would privatize the warehouse. In other words, that would let the liquor companies come in and run their own warehouse and get the state out of the business of that. That passed by 90-something votes.
Would that still be run through the warehouse itself, or they would have to have their own individual warehouse?
They would come in, invest capital, create jobs, pay people. They would do their own. And there's at least 3 major companies that have already committed to come into the state. If we get out of the business and let them, that would be a lot of capital invested and a lot of jobs created if that happens.
Is that in a House bill, Trey?
It is. Yeah, we passed that last year in the House in the same measures before the House.
But I mean, you've resubmitted it this year.
I have, yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure which bill number it is. I don't know that it's been assigned yet, but it has been filed.
Is there a like bill over in the Senate to do the same thing?
My understanding that Senator Chris Johnson is working on that, and he is presenting a bill. I have not had a chance to look at his bill yet, but we'll be talking about it.
So what you're talking about is just basically shutting down the Gluckstadt operation.
That is one of the options. It certainly is. The other option is hiring another company to come in and run it. The third option would be spending a lot of taxpayer money to stay in the business and fix up the existing warehouse.
Which would cost, what, $30-35 million?
North of that is what I've been told.
Always informative.